silver has actually performed well in the long term, and you guys are expecting way too much out of it. It's not Bitcoin. You know, that's a very interesting comment from this viewer, and to be honest with you, it's something I've thought about before, so I think we should at least explore it and ask the question. Are we expecting too much out of silver? I mean, I say that very sincerely because everyone talks about how silver hasn't kept up with inflation, right? But in reality, has it not? I mean, sure, with anything, it doesn't matter what it is. You can pick and choose when there were bad times to buy, when there were bad times to sell, and when you should have waited. Hindsight for everybody is 2020. But in reality, if you look at silver going back to the 90s and early 2000s, silver was trading in the fours. If you look at the early to mid-teen years, we're talking 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-ish area there, right there, it was trading in the 14s. Today, silver is trading for around $22.60 an ounce. Now, I don't know how much you believe in using like the inflation calculator put out by the US, but it actually appears that outside of those bad times, that silver actually has kept up with inflation. Take a look at this chart, for example. If we look at the 90s and early 2000s, silver was mostly outside of this peak here at 708 on February, 2nd of 1998. For the most part, up until about 2004, silver was trading between $4 and $5. Now, if you were to take $4 and $5 and adjust that for inflation, let's just take the end here. We'll say 2002. Adjust that for inflation. While certainly things are way more expensive than they were in 2002, nobody is negating that. Rent prices are up, housing prices are up, food prices are up, fuel prices are up, energy prices are up. They're not up over 4 times. And we can take a look at a historical average chart to get an idea of what it averaged out for each year. So 93, 431, 5, 5, 5, basically 5, a little over 5, 5, 5, 5, almost 4 here, 488. Now we start getting to where it's really moving up. And you guys remember this if you were around in silver back then. I mean, you know, we remember when silver almost hit $50 an ounce in 2011. That's one of the times I'm talking about where silver probably wasn't the best thing to buy. Of course, we couldn't have known that, just like we can't know if today, with the current average price of silver being at $22.82 for the year, we don't know today if silver is a good buy or a bad buy because we don't know where it's going to go. And personally, I still, even with seeing all this, do you think that silver is undervalued? I am not arguing that. I absolutely believe in silver. I am absolutely buying more and more silver, especially with premiums being down. You won't get an argument out of me. But let's take a look at, let's go back to 2002 here. We got 460 on average. So let's take that 460 and plug it into the CPI inflation calculator. And before I hit calculate, yes, I agree that this is certainly going to not be as high as it is in reality, but it gives us an idea at least. This is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, so it's going off of CPI numbers, but it looks like in 2002, 460 today is worth 801. And think about it, while this is probably understated, it's probably more than 801, still, it is not as bad as 4 times. There's no doubt about it. I mean, think about the price of gas back in 2002. It was what, $1.40, $1.50, $1.60, depending on where you lived. I think I remember it hitting $1.80 around then, but it wasn't quite over $2 yet. And the, you know, gas price today is what, $2.70, $2.80 a gallon where I live. Maybe it's a little bit higher where you are, but that is certainly not even double, much less triple or quadruple when you compare it to the price of silver back then. So I guess my point is that you can always pick and choose times when it wasn't necessarily the best time to be stacking silver. And that can be said with gold and any other commodity. So like I said, I'm not stopping silver. I mean, I am not stopping stacking silver at all. There's no doubt about it. I am a silver stacker and I love these lower premiums. I love these lower prices and I'm happy to take advantage of these awesome premiums on silver right now. But are we expecting too much? Like that's the question. Like, you know, I think what's happening with silver, when you see people getting into silver that have only been in it for 5-6 years, you know, they, or even less if they got into it, you know, at the beginning of the silver squeeze. We've talked about this. If they got it into it during the silver squeeze, you know, they were expecting to buy silver then, and they were expecting it to keep up with the massive ramp up in inflation that was happening right then. And it has not done that. There is no doubt about it. The last few years, if you compare it to today's prices, certainly have not been the best time to buy silver. So I think a lot of people getting into silver stacking these days, right now, I think a lot of people getting into it right now are expecting it to do what people have said it's going to do. But I think, at least it looks like to me, that it really has kept up with inflation over the course of a long period of time. It has not kept up with freight inflation recently. So the question becomes, is if we continue to see inflation going up, in fact, I think the CPI numbers were stronger last month than they expected them to be. And if we're going to continue to see inflation, is buying silver today, you know, over the course of a long period of time. Remember, silver is a long haul. Is silver over the course of a long period of time going to keep up with inflation? And I think if you look at it on that historical level, it has already shown that it is going to do so. So I love stacking physical silver. There is no doubt about it. Physical silver is what I want to continue to add to my hard assets, my hard savings. You know, I think another thing is people expect it to do what Bitcoin has done or what some of the other things have done. You know, I mean, Bitcoin today, as I'm recording this, $60,000 per coin. That's the last time it was there was a few years ago, and then it dipped back into 15,000. You have to correct me if I'm wrong. And now here it is again at over 60,000. And I'm sure eventually it will pull back, and we don't know when it will be, right? But what does that tell you? That tells you that right now, with Bitcoin at $60,000, if you're a Bitcoin person, I'm not a Bitcoin person, I don't buy Bitcoin. But if you're a Bitcoin person, Bitcoin at $60,000, probably not the best time to buy it. I could be wrong. I'm not a financial advisor. I certainly don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what it's going to do. Maybe tomorrow we wake up and it's 70,000. I have no idea. But my point is that if you look at it, we're looking at Bitcoin sitting at a peak right now. And I think when people were buying silver, you know, over the last couple of years, they don't realize that silver is already up. Like, silver's already up, even from 2015, 2016, 2017. I mean, let's go back to the chart again. 2015, 1566, 1717, 1707, 1571, 1622. We had a lot of years there where silver was absolutely cheaper than it is today. And so if you bought silver in 2016 or 17 or 18 or 19 or 15, it does look like that it has adjusted for inflation from those periods of time as well. But that's not what a lot of silver stackers want, is it? No, we want, and when I say we, I just mean silver stackers in general, they want to see it keep up with inflation on a day-to-day basis. And it just doesn't work like that. And I don't think it really ever has. I mean, it is going to take a while for it to react, but I personally believe, again, I'm not a financial advisor, this is just an opinion, but I believe that, you know, I believe that over the course of time, silver will continue to be a good hedge against inflation. It's just not going to be that way on a daily basis. And by the way, you're probably wondering why I am looking through these halves. It's because sometimes I play with silver when I do these talking hands videos. Sometimes I get in front of the camera and, you know, stare at you or whatever. But, ooh, I heard that. I do see it. Oh, we got silver, by the way. Is that it? Oh, there it is. Hey, look at that. We have a 40% silver half. These rolls, by the way, these were from some of my overstock from what I used to do, corner hunting live streams. It's been a very long time. These have been sitting in overstock for years. And, you know, I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and open these and see if we have any silver and do it in this video. Let's see if we have any more silver. I lost track of what I was talking about because I got excited about the silver. 40% silver half is what, worth 3 and change today? I'd have to double check the math on that, but we will take it. Anyway, I don't remember where I was, and I'm sure that what I was talking about, though, like, you know, today, I know what I was talking about, but I'm sure that today's topic, I should say, is probably a very controversial topic, and I'm sure you're going to get many people that are going to dislike this video. So do me a favor and reverse their dislike by hitting the like so that, you know, it can help negate some of those dislikes for me. But I think maybe we're expecting a little bit too much out of silver. I think that's what I'm ultimately getting at today, is that I think people are expecting it to do Bitcoin or GameStop or AMC, and it's just not going to do that. I think ultimately silver is a very good long-term hold. I think it always has been. I don't see that changing. It certainly looks like it if you look at the historical charts. If you look at prices, you can certainly see that if you had bought it at the right time, it has kept up with inflation, but we don't know when that right time is going to be. So I don't know. We only have a couple of rolls left here, by the way. I don't know if today is a good time to buy silver or not. So what I do on a fundamental level is I just keep stacking it. If it goes up, if it goes down, I just keep adding to my stack. The one thing that affects my silver buying the most is not the spot price, but the premiums. The premiums absolutely affect, you know, my stacking silver. You know, I certainly stacked silver differently for the last few years, starting from the silver squeeze and those premium hikes that came from that, and in March of last year with the banking thing that caused the premiums to go up again. I certainly changed how I stacked during those periods of time, but I definitely am excited to stack when premiums are down. And I had said this in another video, and I'm sure many of you will be like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But because ultimately what's important is the out the door price, right? But to me, it feels better to, if I'm going to pay $25 for an ounce of silver, to me, it feels better to pay $23 spot plus $2 or whatever versus paying $18 plus 10. You know what I mean? So that's where I am. I even though I might be out the door the same price that I was a few years ago when spot goes up, but the premiums are down, it still makes it feel better for me. And that's what I had to say today. So like I said, probably an incredibly controversial topic, and I'm sure I'll get a couple of dislikes, but you know what? We found silver. I'll take that. Free silver all day. Well, it cost me 50 cents, but it's still a silver profit. Guys, if you liked today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to put another one up here where I secret shopped a local coin shop. If you haven't seen that yet, check it out now, and we will see you next time.